maybe if I take more beef heart, I'll like the trolls more. You know, me and the trolls might finally get along if I eat more beef heart, because if you get more heart in your diet, maybe you'll have a bigger heart and you'll just learn to love all the hate. Here goes nothing. I feel good. I feel like killing trolls. Yeah, I got more energy. I can kill more trolls now. I love killing trolls. I love killing trolls. Train the muscles, not the joints. Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about cheat curls. Mountain. So somebody just asked me about cheat curls, and do I think cheat curls, do I think they're effective? Can they be effective? And honestly, I hate the word cheat. I hate that because it basically says that one way is wrong and one way is right. Meanwhile, the way that a lot of people call cheat when it comes down to exercises is, ironically, a lot of times the way that puts the most amount of tension on a muscle. And a lot of times also creates the most results. So because of this, I prefer to say, hey, yeah, there's a slight swing to a curl or a slight swing to something to get over a weak link in the exercise, so that way the strong area of the exercise can actually be challenged. So that said, right, you can make anything extremely tough. You can make anything extremely challenging. You can make any exercise extremely challenging just by pausing at the bottom and sitting there for, a full minute, basically almost to failure, and then trying to do a rep. That will make the exercise harder, but will it necessarily produce more results? That's really the question, and a lot of times it doesn't. Biceps look like potatoes after they get a pump. If you just sit there and pause the rep for that long, and I mean, you are holding the weight up with your muscle, so you're basically exhausting the muscle isometrically, and then just doing one rep for the exercise. So you're basically going right to failure and then just lifting the weight for one rep. Just because that's harder, and you can only get one rep, does not necessarily mean it's more effective for building muscle. So I'm surprised how many people don't ask themselves this question. They don't ask themselves, what is producing more results? And the thing is with curls, you get lots of people saying, no, you got to keep the elbows back, or you got to bring the elbows forward, or you got to come all the way up, or come part way up. But in the end, it's always about what creates the most amount of tension on the muscle group that you're trying to hit. And for each person that might be slightly different. For me, I found a slight swing at the bottom helps me basically be able to use the weight that will challenge the majority of the muscle. Now, if I lock the arms out at the bottom and do super slow and make sure everything is perfectly locked out straight and stable, basically there's absolutely no movement whatsoever, and then I have to lift the weight from a perfectly stable point, like maybe a place where my body is not at any sort of mechanical advantage. The funny thing is that you'd say, oh, geez, that's harder, so it must be more effective in building muscle. But what I found is in a lot of cases, it's less effective because you're fighting your own limitations of your body and your biomechanics. You're not using your biomechanics to work efficiently. So remember that. If you're using your biomechanics inefficiently, just because it's harder doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be hitting the muscle that you want to hit. So I find in some cases a slight swing went over the fence? I'm not sure. Or a tiny bit of momentum can really help get past that sticking point, so that way you can get a stronger muscle contraction and handle heavier weight and therefore get more results. So yeah, do I believe in cheat curls once in a while? Yeah, just make sure you're warmed up, make sure that you've done lots of light sets, you've done the stretching, and you've made sure that the muscles can handle it. And then from there, yeah, maybe use a little bit heavier weight than you usually can handle and get past that sticking point and use a slight swing. Now, where you get into trouble is if you're using all body English and basically it's just purely momentum lifting that weight. You don't want it to be pure momentum, because if it's just pure momentum, of course you're not using the muscles in the arm. You're not using the bicep muscles at that point. Beautiful. But a little bit of swing at the bottom to get past the sticking point, and then using your bicep contraction in order to get the weight the rest of the way, that's still definitely going to cause you to get results. And that's definitely something that shouldn't be avoided, right? You want results, right? Mountain. See, results. People want results. So I would say cheat curls all the time, maybe not a good idea, but once in a while, for sure. I think cheat curls can be an effective way to building biceps and to building a lot of muscles. You know, sometimes doing the way that is not necessarily perfectly performed without momentum. Sometimes that's not the most efficient way to build muscle or even strength. I just had somebody leave a comment actually and talk about my ranges of motion and stuff and how they were surprised that when they were doing constant tension reps using efficient range of motion, they noticed that their full range of motion strength actually went up. And this is something powerlifters all know. This is something all the professionals know. This is something all the people who know what they're talking about, they already know this. But the novices that are somehow getting like lots of views on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and sometimes the intermediate guys, these are the guys that don't really realize that there's more than one way to perform a rep. And if you perform it efficiently, you will gain more strength than doing the full range in a lot of cases, because you're working with your body's biomechanics, not against it. So remember, I mean, this is about accessing stimulation of the muscle. It isn't about working against it. It's not about making something inconvenient or harder just for the sake of being harder. What is it harder on, right? What is that tension harder on? And a lot of times you'll find it's not harder on the muscle when you're doing the wrong range of motion or maybe going too strict. So yes, you can go too strict in an exercise and that can impede your gains, not help you gain. So I hope this helps you out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and thanks to the patron supporters, and take care for now. Mountain. I gotta drop somebody off on the mountain. It's gonna be a good day. I gotta get my shovel.